Welcome to the College Essay Advisors podcast. Before we introduce ourselves, here's a little preview of what's to come.
If you are the kind of person who is going to succeed in, let's say, a high level school, you're going to succeed anywhere. If you're the kind of person, regardless of what level school you're applying to, who has drive, who has passion, you're going to bring that to any community you become a part of. Welcome to the College Essay Advisors podcast, an ongoing exploration of how to write admissions essays that get you noticed and accepted. Hi, my name is Stacey Brooke, and I'm the founder and chief advisor at College Essay Advisors.
Hi, I'm Becca Myers. I'm director of advising at the same place, College Essay Advisors, CEA.
So today we're here to talk to you about what to do if you have been rejected. So first of all, we're sorry if this is happening to you, because we know it is a disappointment to be rejected. Really and truly, I think the first thing we want to say is that there are so many factors that go into assessing an application that as much as you possibly can, please try not to take this personally. Many of the students we work with really and truly bust their butts their entire high school career. They do everything they're supposed to do and then some. They follow their passions. They write authentically in their essays. And sometimes things just don't work out and you'll never know why. And there often is nothing you could or could have done about it. So try to be easy on yourself. I know when I was a 17-year-old, I didn't give myself any space to make mistakes and was disappointed when things didn't roll my way. But I'm telling you that you should try to give yourself a little bit of grace if you can. So that's a starting point. And all of this will only make you more resilient and understand even more that sometimes when the things that you want don't come to fruition, I know it sounds like I'm just saying this, but even better, less expected things happen. And I'm not saying things happen for a reason, but I'm saying that you will make the most of whatever opportunities slot in place instead of what you thought you wanted, needed, had to have.
Yeah, because
So
I think we create the reason around. I understand what you're saying. I think that that phrase, "things happen for a reason," is comforting to some people, and other people roll their eyes at it. And I think that we have an ability to take what happens to us and then see why it happened in retrospect. So, like,
mhm.
I got rejected from UVA when I was in high school, and at the time that
Their
felt
loss,
super
their loss.
well, it felt really personal at the time. And I ended up going to Chapel Hill, which was it a better fit for me? I was super happy there. That's how I got started with my a cappella group, met my best friends, started on a track to becoming a writer. Would that have happened at UVA? Probably. They've got some great a cappella there too. But the point is, if
Very,
we
very important.
we're creatures that can adapt and adjust.
No, for sure, for sure. And I think, sort of taking that resilient attitude, or at least like holding space for that thought that you will be happy in the future, even if you're a little miserable now with the results, is really useful in this moment because we all know the next step in this is you have to submit other applications. So I think trying as hard as you possibly can to put on a brave face, get your attitude and spirits up, especially if you have other applications to complete. That's pretty critical at this time, and I think is just going to help make the rest of your applications that much stronger.
Absolutely. I think there's also such a thing as, I mean, mutual fit is important. And I'm not
Mhm.
suggesting, I mean, I think our listeners are also incredibly smart and savvy. And I don't want any parents or students hearing this thinking, well, what do you mean? Like, you think I wasn't a good fit? I researched this, I gave everything into it. That's true. But there are elements that, as Stacey said, are mysterious. And I would want to believe that a school that doesn't want you, there's a school out there that wants you twice as much.
I think ultimately, if you are the kind of person who is going to succeed in, let's say, a high level school, you're going to succeed anywhere. If you're the kind of person, regardless of what level school you're applying to, who has drive, who has passion, you're going to bring that to any community you become a part of. And listen, there is always the option to transfer. We work with a ton of transfer students every year. I actually have found that with students of mine who ultimately end up going to schools that might not have been their initial like drop dead number one top choice, that very few people transfer, because I do think it's really easy in these versatile, diverse college environments, even the smaller ones, to find a place for yourself there. But if you don't like it, you can always apply to be somewhere else. You can always apply to your top choice school again. I know that's not a comfort, necessarily, but it is the truth, is that, this isn't a singular path that you have to take and that's set in stone. You do have a certain amount of control over your own life moving forward, and you can make decisions, change course. This isn't the end all be all last thing you will ever do. So just remember that there is some optionality down the road.
It is hard to get rejected now when so many people live stream opening
Mhm.
the email.
Mhm.
People are very public about their acceptances on TikTok. The friends at school are going to be talking about, I got into Michigan. Did you get into Michigan? Maybe that one person got into Michigan, but they're loud about it. I get that has to be super painful, probably more so than it was for me in 1995. So I just want to say for the students out there hearing this, we're moving pretty quickly to you're going to do great. It's okay to just sit and wallow a little bit before you get back up. I mean, you do have to write additional essays. You have to think about RD schools. It's not over, but it's okay to kind of have that day in your bed with your favorite comfort TV shows and your hot mug and, you know, mute the person on your socials who got in. Like it's okay
Yes,
to do
for
that for
sure.
a day or two, because I think we all, I'm in my mid to late 40s and I still struggle with writing rejections and I still need that time sometimes. So
Yeah,
definitely parents, if you're listening, allow your kid to have a little bit of that time before kind of saying, okay, immediately get back out there. It's okay to take that space.
for sure. For sure. And then I think the next practical step is to pick yourself up and try to figure out, one, were you happy with the application you submitted? And sometimes the answer is, I don't know. And then maybe it's time to get a second opinion, depending on how many people you showed your essay to before. I know there's definitely a danger of there being too many cooks in the kitchen if you showed too many people and solicit too many outside opinions, but it is possible maybe that you were a little bit off target in terms of your topic or your execution, or maybe because this process is so complex and there are so many assignments to complete that you missed the mark on a school specific supplement, or there's something that can be refined, that can be pumped up for your next application. So I certainly think in the case of being rejected from a school, before you put all the energy and effort into recycling, replicating, working on additional essays, if you haven't done that already, it is worth putting your eyes on your essays and reconsidering, just making sure that you are super happy with the content and execution of the essays you submitted. And the answer to whether or not you are could totally be yes. And so it is important to hold space for the possibility and the high potential that you actually did submit your best effort. So it is a little tricky in that, yeah, sometimes your essays actually are really good and we just don't know why you weren't accepted, but the essays aren't it. The essay isn't the reason. But it is something that, you might want to examine for sure.
Yeah. And that is something that we offer. So if you are looking for someone outside of your family or school to evaluate the personal statement, the supplements, look at your activities list, and also even have a conversation with you. I had a student one time who had a lot of really interesting activities, but some of them were overlapping in areas. So the personal statement had included mock trial, but then the activity had also been mock trial. And we don't know if that's the reason for a rejection, but it's possible that something else could have come up. And sometimes when I'm having a conversation with a student, it's our second call, and suddenly they say something that's totally left out of anywhere else in their application. Like, well, 2 summers ago when I was training sharks off the coast of Cuba. And I'm like, wait, what? You train
Shark
sharks?
training.
That kind
And
of
you've
thing.
been
And
to
you're like,
Cuba.
well, that's so interesting. Right. 2 for 1. that's an interesting thing. Is that an activity that was your most meaningful? I don't know, but
Right.
we can explore some things that aren't readily anywhere else.
Completely. And it might not be about the essays that you've submitted not being of the quality they needed to be, but it might just be that we can maximize the space by minimizing redundancy, or even
More
just
sharks.
more sharks, always more sharks, or even just tailoring additional applications that you haven't completed yet to the needs of those particular schools. It can't hurt just to have somebody else put a pair of eyes on it. The essays are clearly an important component of the application, and I think we hesitate to say that any one line, any one reference, any tiny detail would be make or break. I think we tend to believe that the sum of the parts as related to the essays, like an admissions officer will get a feeling about you, they will have an understanding about you. They're not trying to fixate on one specific line, et cetera. But in assessments that we've done of essays from students who've been rejected, sometimes we do recognize a red flag that maybe has gone unnoticed or that has gone unexamined or not mentioned by anyone else that has reviewed the essay in the past. And it could be something as simple as kind of framing, something that maybe a student who is trying to help a community is framing something in a way that makes it feel incredibly white privilegey, or sometimes it's just tone. Sometimes there are just small details that can be tweaked to make an essay feel like it is actually delivering the message a student wants to deliver. Those are the kinds of things that I think are most important to identify before you submit the rest of your essays. So that's certainly a reason to have another set of eyes on your essays, if that's something you're considering. In conclusion, chin up. You have to try to understand that this isn't personal. Things will shake out in a way that ultimately allows you to get an education. You are going to figure it out. But right now, the most important thing is to buck up, get those new applications written with a positive attitude, and seek any help you need to make sure what you submit is as strong as it can possibly be.
That's our episode for today. Thank you so much for listening or watching. If you like our content, please like and subscribe to follow us for more. Happy writing!